Hi, welcome to the Ellis Talker Show. I'm DV LeBron. Today's special guest is the Ellis County DA, Miss Ann Montgomery, and Mr. Brent Dorrough. Dorrough, I'm sorry, did I say it right?
That's close.
Um, that's close enough. All right, no, Master Guns, I want to get it right because
It's
respect.
Dura. Pronounced like you would
Dorrough,
say Duracell batteries.
Dorrough. Okay, that sounds good. So Mr. Brent Dorrough is the new Veterans Treatment Court coordinator. It is what we've been waiting on because the coordinator has a major day-to-day effect on how that program runs. While the DA, Miss Montgomery, runs it overall, Brent's gonna do that. He's the one that makes the nuts and bolts go. So first, I wanted to thank you for taking this position because from veteran to veteran, you know what this means, helping other vets, and so thank you. I wanted you to go ahead and tell people about yourself. Give them a quick bio.
Okay. Well, thank you, first of all, for having me on the show. We appreciate the opportunity to really get the word out there, and this is a great way to do that. Um, I'm Brent Dorrough. Spent 30 years in the Marine Corps. Moved here. I had no ties to Texas whatsoever. I just felt like Texas was the place that I needed to be. I'm originally from Georgia. Um, my last tour in the Marine Corps was in Hawaii, so that the move here was quite an extensive ordeal. But we got here in the summer of it was July, I think, July of 22, and and I had a job with a logistics company, and I enjoyed the work, but I didn't feel like it did anything. Coming from a career in the service, you're always helping somebody, mentoring, leading, advising, those types of things, and it's fruitful. And then the job that I had when I got out, it didn't satisfy me in a giving type way, in a personal or professional way, really. So I was looking for an opportunity, and found this opportunity, and it gives me the chance to help vets and get back in the community and feel like I'm part of the team again. So I definitely appreciate the opportunity to do that. But just uh, as an introduction, I've my wife is a military brat. She grew up and her dad was in the Air Force. My dad was in the Army, and all of his brothers were in the Army. Grandfather was in the Army, World War II, Vietnam guys. So military service was just in my blood. And she grew up in it, and then she, moved over from being an Air Force brat to a Marine spouse, and her whole life has been in the military until I retired. So yeah, we just wanted to be in a location that I felt was a very grounded area with a lot of veteran, uh, a community, I guess, of veterans and opportunities for veterans, et cetera. And I just happened to cross this position, man. I saw it and I read it online, and I was actually in line for a different position with the county, and uh, I said no, thank you. I wanted to do this, and then I aligned with the folks that could make that happen, and here we are.
Well, Master Guns, thank you, because this is big. This is something that I've been, ever since um the DA had told me about that. I've been all over it. There is no higher calling than to help our brothers and sisters in arms,
Yeah,
especially those that fall on bad times and maybe make a decision that could wreck them. I mean, and this
absolutely.
is an opportunity, and so I've been all over this. Ms. Montgomery, it's good to see you again.
You.
You made this hire. Talk about how this program all came into place, and I'm gonna get with Brent about the specifics on going where we're gonna go forward, but just kind of give me an overview on how this all came to being.
Well, I didn't make the hire. Brent is actually under Judge Wallace in the budget. When we found out last year that we received the grant, and the bulk of the grant was for this position so that we could get it started. So when we found out we had received the grant, then Judge Wallace posted the position and interviewed and hired Brent. So that is purely his employee that works under him, since he has been designated as the Veterans Treatment Court by the Commissioner's Court.
Oh, okay. Now, Brent, did you hold it against Judge Wallace that after being a great Marine Corps warrior, he decided to join the army?
No, he needed a break. He just needed to take a little time off, so he did that.
So you're gonna what is gonna be your primary responsibility on this court?
So the title I hold is the Veterans Treatment Court Coordinator, and if you look at it in comparison, luckily I have the opportunity to look at other veterans courts in the immediate area. So we've spent a decent amount of time observing those, and Tarrant County specifically, the coordinator down there has been a tremendous help for me. But looking at their responsibilities and how those teams are broken out at least for the immediate future as we build this program, and I describe it as building a bridge as you cross it. I'm holding about 3 different positions to get it started. Now, who knows what it'll turn into in the future? I don't know if we'll be able to grow the program based on its success, but I'm certain of its success in the future. So I assume that we will grow going forward. But I'll manage. I'll hold the position of coordinator, case manager, director in the other courts that they have, because their programs are very mature programs. So they have all of those different billets to run their program. So I'll do all those things up front, and I'm going to give it 100% every day, man. But I'll oversee the entire program, and in conjunction with Judge Wallace and the DA's office, we'll just we'll be a team on this, and everybody is moving forward with the same goal.
And I love that, because that's what we do. We get a mission and we take it on, and that sounds like what you're doing. You're taking it all on, and because
Absolutely.
that's what Marines do, and that's admirable.
It's a no-fail mission. People are counting on us, man.
Yes, they are. It is a mission. As long as we're living, that is our mission, to help others. So you when a case comes up to Ann, and Ann screens it and says, or I mean, I don't know exactly the way this process goes, and that's kind of what I'm asking you. Does Ann, see a case and say, hey, this guy might be good for this, or is it something that you got to put a packet up and then Ann decides on it?
Yeah, I mean, everything will. It's my program to manage. It's the DA's program. So they are the ones that said yes, let's do this, and then that gave the authorities to everybody else to start making things happen. So it's Ann's program. It'll go through her office, her and Jeff Bullock specifically. Jeff did a lot of the heavy lifting. Let me just say that.
Yeah, I met Jeff.
Before we move forward, Jeff has done a tremendous amount of legwork. Before this program was stood up. When I walked in the door, Jeff was able to hand me a package of information that says, here's you a starting point, which is fantastic. Yeah, so I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Jeff. But yeah, everything will go through the DA's office first before it ever comes to me. It has to have their seal of approval that says, yep, let's look at this guy, let's further screen him, etc. Because without that, then they won't be in the program.
Now, I'm sorry, go ahead.
When I went to the commissioner's court originally about the veterans court, there was some concern about the types of offenses that would be put into the system. And so we haven't set forth those rules yet. And I don't know that there will be necessarily hard and fast rules. I think it's going to depend on each case by case. I know drug and alcohol offenses are going to be no problem. Probably simple assaults would not be an issue. But if you get into aggravated offenses, I ultimately have to look at the safety of the citizens of Ellis County. And so those would have to be ones that we would look at very carefully. But if I decide a case does not need to be transferred to the Veterans Court, it stays here in this office. But if I decide it needs to be transferred, then it goes to Brent, and we start this collaborative. He has to do a lot of research to see if they actually qualify, though. And he's got the 30 years in the military so that he can run those traps with the VA to see if they have that diagnosis of a mental physical disability that caused the criminal conduct as to why we're seeing them. He will be able to run those traps because he can talk the lingo much better than anybody in my office can, to see if they actually qualify under the statute. And if they do, then they get into the program, it's a very collaborative process to where we sit down with Brent and the judge and a defense attorney that's working with everybody, so that we then see what has this veteran done, what can we do to help them. And as they keep coming back for their court hearings, we can say, how are they doing in the program? What do we need to do to help them? It's much more collaborative than if you come to court and you didn't agree with conditions of bond, then your bond's going to be revoked and you could be put in jail. It's just a much more collaborative, not an adversarial process. And it's built that way intentionally.
it you know, that is one thing that I was going to ask you, because that is a concern that has been brought up. Well, you know, we're going to slap them on the wrist, we're going to give them hugs. What are we doing here? And so you just to make it clear, your aggravateds are something that that's kind of going to be the, I mean, and you're saying you're going to be more of a case by case, but aggravateds is pretty much going to be the line. So
I had some concerns on commissioners about some of those offenses being allowed in. And so I have to take that into consideration. Ultimately, it will be my decision. But if we had a victim who said, no, this person never acted this way prior to their military service, and now they are, and they said, we want them to go through the process, then maybe that's something I do have to back off and consider a little bit, you know? So I can't say it's a hard and fast no, but we haven't gotten to those rules really yet.
mhm.
With Brent on board, now we can start doing and moving forward more. I know Jeff told me that there are around 20 to 30 veterans at one time in our jail, and that's something Brent can actually look for initially. So when they get booked in, he can get a report to say who are veterans, and he can look at the offenses right on the front end before I ever get a case from the police agency. I mean, he can just look at the bookend report because there's a box that they check if they're veterans. So we can actually start that process of screening probably a little bit earlier. But typically they come because their defense attorney realizes we have this program and their person might qualify. And there's a packet of information then that they can fill out and get to my office, and we get to Brent and we start that process to see if they qualify. It's my understanding right now we have maybe 5 that have been transferred to another county, and we've had 1 graduate from the Tarrant County program. And so I was there on that graduation day in Judge Wallace's court. I gave him a challenge coin from the DA's office and congratulated him for being the first graduate of our Veterans Court program. And Judge Wallace immediately signed the request for the expunction to clear their criminal history because they had completed the program. And one of the things that veteran said was they let you out and they tell you nothing as to how you can get your resources and what's available. And he said the most that he learned in this program is that there's a lot of resources out there that are available to him that he had no idea about. Because I sat in the courtroom and talked to him with his defense attorney and the judge while we were waiting on paperwork to be finished. So that was good to hear, that he said he learned a lot through the program and
Yeah.
learned what resources were available to him to help him.
You when I got out in 06, you know, they still weren't really addressing the things like they're addressing it more now. But I mean, it was even worse for my dad who came back from Vietnam. They didn't, I mean, he got his approval letter from the VA 2 weeks after he died. So I mean, that's kind of how it went for him. And then me, I didn't know what PTSD was and how that dealt with my brain. It was actually my wife researching it, watching what I was going through, and figuring out, hey, this is a real thing. This changes the way your brain responds. And it's very deep. I mean, there's a lot of studies on it that it does affect you. It sends you into fight or flight, what normal people would not do unless they were encountered with a gun in their face or something immediately and freak the heck out. That's just something that's always in a PTSD brain. So it goes into that. Do you have contacts, Master Guns, with Texas Veterans Commission?
I do.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I do too. So I
Good.
mean,
I'll take all the ones you have because I might not have them.
yeah, I will gladly help you any way I can with this. What is the greatest need right now that you have for this program?
The greatest need.
Mm-hmm.
I need 2 more of me.
Two more of you?
I just need the time, and I tell you that the autonomy that I've been given to do this is fantastic. I am literally like I just got furniture in my office last week, so you know from everything, standing up in office, getting a phone, just those things, business cards, all of those things. Everybody that I've encountered has been so helpful. Nobody has said no. Even at the other courts, when I call the other counties and I ask them, hey, can I come out and witness your court, or just come out on a day they're not doing veterans court and just look at your files? Like, I want to see how you do this. How do you run this successfully? What have you learned? Because I'm the last guy doing it right now. I'm sure somebody will come after me, but right now I'm the newest person doing it. So I'm reaching out to say, I need to see what works for you and what didn't work. What are the lessons learned? So I don't have to learn them the hard way. You've already been through that. And I think they appreciate, somebody coming to them for their experience, and working together as a team, because there's a lot of counties that have these, but there seems to be a disconnect between everybody saying, hey, these are best practices, et cetera. And that's pretty normal sometimes. But I think that, through collaborating and synergy and those types of things, we can have a better program. And I let them know up front, I'm not interested in having a good program. I'm interested in having a great program.
Hoorah.
I want our program to be the model for the state. I'm not interested in being the best one in the surrounding counties. I'm interested in being the number one program in the state. So we're going to work hard. We're going to do the things we need to do, because on the other side of that is somebody that really needs our help. Like you said, what happened to them, or the situation that they got themselves into, it's not a free pass. But it's also not indicative of who they are. It's a snapshot in time where, we've all been at a crossroads at some point and made a bad decision.
Yes.
Whether it was big or small, depends. But their decision at that point has been a big one, and they may not have realized how much it was going to impact their life and their family, et cetera. So we're going to give them an opportunity in this program to right that wrong. And just a couple of things, as people talk about the program, they're concerned that, they don't want this to be an easy program. Well, let me just tell you, this is not an easy program by any stretch of the imagination. This is a year-long program. Like, you can't just breeze through this program and come out the other side with an expungement. That's not how it works. And it's important for people to understand. And I'm going to be very candid with them when I sit down and do my screening and my interview to induct them into the program, and remind them that the motivation to get into this program, that's the easy part. It's easy to say, yeah, I want to do that, when you hear all the goodness that comes with it. It's not so easy 4 and 5 months into the program. That's where you have to have the discipline to stay in it and to keep doing the things that you have taken and raised your hand and say, yep, I'm willing to do this, taking an oath and say, I will do these things in order to get to this point. And if you don't do those things, then there's sanctions, and there's punishments that go along with those things and those decisions. And eventually you could be thrown out of the program. So who wants that? I know that these veterans, after we have this conversation, are going to understand my conviction, because I'm going to make sure that they do, and that they know that this is a tough program, and it's not for everybody. It's just not going to be for everybody. And some of them may opt out to say, I'd rather just, pay the fine or go to jail or whatever the case may be. That's their decision. We're not gonna try to force anybody into the program. It's either a good fit or it's not, and it won't be a good fit for everybody.
Right.
But the people that will be in the program, it's all service connected issues. In 2009, when this first came about for Texas, that's all it was service connected. And then later on in 2015, it changed a little bit to where they could encompass more veterans with items or things that just weren't exactly service connected. We're starting out with the 2009 model, which creates a smaller population, a more manageable population right out of the gate, so that we can do those things and continue to build the program as they go through it. And then maybe a year or so down the road, I don't know, we'll see how successful we are. Maybe we can widen that aperture a little bit.
No, I get it. Focusing the scope on that, because it can get it can get really wide. But on the flip end, though, Master Guns, when you do get a chance, because like I went undiagnosed for so long, I didn't know I had an issue. I thought it was normal what I was doing.
Yeah.
So it is. And then I through my wife's help, I went and got help. And VA help with that, and then I was service connected, but
Right.
it took a process, and then a lot of it too is shame.
Sure.
You don't want to seem weak. There's so many things that go into a veteran's mind when it comes to getting help.
Yeah, if you think about the community itself, like, these are volunteers that have raised their hand and sworn an oath to the Constitution, and these aren't just anybody in the crowd. These are people that have done something huge in their life at one point, where it required a lot of discipline. It required a lot of pride and all the things that go into service. And it's just, I can't believe that those folks, my brothers and sisters, your brothers and sisters, have changed so much that they don't care about those things. Man, those intangibles are just, they're tattooed on your heart. It's who you are, whether you've lost your way or not. So you can't tell me that those types of things won't impact them. Of course, they're embarrassed if they're in trouble, because they're expected to perform at a higher level, to be a, a stronger citizen in the community and do certain things. And you're a volunteer by nature. So yeah, there has to be some embarrassment there. And I pray that there is. That tells me that they still genuinely care. And I'm going to capitalize on that because I'm going to use it against them and help them to stay disciplined in this program.
Mm-hmm. Well, just to give you guys a little quick heads up, Mr. Dorrough, great choice, by the way, and that great choice. Now, here's why. He was a master guns. Now, you see all those stripes right there? That's a lot of stripes. There's two lines of ranks in the military. There's the ensign all the way up to the general, whatever, and then you have in the enlisted ranks, you go from private to master guns, which was him. So at the highest pinnacle of the enlisted ranking, that's where he was. He reached the pinnacle of the career as an enlisted man. He couldn't go any higher. He was the one. Now I could tell you, I dealt with some master guns when I was in the Navy and master chiefs. And when a master chief or master guns talk to you, you listen. And there's a thing that translates. Even though we're out of the military, I'm calling him master guns, because that is the respectful term for him. He'll always be master guns. And if I'm doing that, others do too. I mean, it's a thing in our community. But that was a great choice, Miss Montgomery. I appreciate it. Brent, if there's anything that I could ever do and help you with this, please let me know.
There is something.
Go ahead.
There is. Jeff told me to make sure I ask for this. If you're a veteran and if you want to become a mentor or want to offer services for drug mental health rehabilitation to veteran participants, reach out to Brent or reach out to Jeff, because to build this program, we need veterans that will come in and help serve as mentors to these participants in the program. So if anybody is willing to do that or offer services, it would be very important to reach out to Brent, since he's the coordinator and he can get all that contact information. And so we can start building all of the services that we need to offer. And I don't know who came up with the mission, but Brent didn't mention it. Jeff gave it to me to make sure that I said the mission of the Ellis County Veterans Treatment Court is to assist veterans and their families to become integral and productive members of the community through a collaborative effort, and to honor them and restore their dignity for their selfless services to our country that contributed to their impairment, which had a direct impact on criminal conduct. We shall leave no veteran behind.
That's right.
Yeah.
And the goal ultimately is to, of course, one time in the Veterans Treatment Court and there's zero recidivism, so that we've done what we should do for the veteran and they don't come back through the system again. That is the ultimate goal.
Yeah. Volunteer number one.
There you go, Brent.
There you go.
To volunteer number one. So Ann knows how to get a hold of me, and I'll send you an email. I am more than happy to help you out any way I can. I mean,
thank you.
I do work some crazy hours, but I'll help you any way I can, my friend.
I appreciate you, brother.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, and thank you so much, Ann, for getting this program started. I know that you had a lot of help, but this was your predecessor did not do this. This was something that you made. This was your start. You made this happen, because without your support, it wouldn't happen. So thank you. Thank you for that. I really appreciate that. Master Guns, it was a pleasure talking with you, and I'll reach out to you and see if we can't get together.
Thank you, brother.
I want to take you to breakfast first. You got to go to Gravy over in Red Oak. It'll change your life.
So yes, I will agree with that. I was there this week.
It'll change your life. So I'll reach out. You guys take care.
You too, brother.
Thank you.